tonight. It's not really about any particular individual. It's about the people of the province of Ontario and what the Liberal vision is for the province of Ontario. I promise to keep it short. Liberals by nature are pragmatic. They're not ideologically driven like the NDP or the Conservatives. We try to fix problems. And we used to adopt back in 2003, there were a lot of problems. The education system was in shambles. A lot of strikes were going on with teachers, and student scores were low, student graduation was low, and there's a whole morale problem between the teachers, the administration, and the government at the time. The same was true with our healthcare system. Hospitals were being closed down, nurses were being called hula hoops and other names by the Premier at that time, and we had a health system that was really in bad shape. We had an electricity system that had old wires. In fact, we had a blackout in 2003, and part of the reason that happened was because our system wasn't up to date. Our infrastructure in general needed a lot of repairs. We had old buildings that were still functioning, almost like buildings that were in very bad shape, and we need to fix those up. And so our government, when we took office in 2003, we decided, let's fix the problems. We focused on the issues that were important. Education. There hasn't been a strike with teachers since 2003. We're working with the school system. We're bringing in full-day kindergarten so that parents can drop off their kids at a location, a school, or another location, and not worry about their children, be able to go out and work, both husband and wife. And so the education system has been improved tremendously with full-day kindergarten. Also, we put in a system where test scores have risen and graduation numbers have gone up much higher. And I'm not a big statistics person, I'm not going to read them, I have them in front of me, but I know that both have gone up well, and more kids are graduating, and the scores are much higher than they were before. Our hospital wait time in terms of hospitals are much lower. We're getting more cataract surgeries done. We're getting more knee and hip replacements done faster than before. We've been able to purchase more MRI machines here in Ontario so we can get themselves looked after. And those two issues alone, education and healthcare, are what drive the economy. Businesses have come in here. Samsung has come here. Toyota has come in here to open big operations, big operational plans. And the reason they've done that is because there's a good healthcare system and a good education system that we now have in place. They know when they come here, their family is going to be looked after in terms of healthcare, and their children can attend their schools knowing that they're well looked after in our public school systems and not have to put them in private schools. When I was much younger, I remember my friends were saying, I'm going to put my kids in a private school because the public schools are very, very bad. Now our public schools are getting much better. People are happy to put their kids into public schools where things have improved much, much more. And so that pragmatism, that desire to make things better, make us flexible, and we're able to do so many other things. We're repairing our transmission lines that are 100 years old in some areas, almost 100 years old. We've got old transformers that are functioning properly, and we're repairing them, we're making them better. And it costs money, yes, but it's the right thing to do. We can't continue to operate with old energy systems, with old wires and old transformers. And we can't continue to operate as well with, not just the transformers and the lines, but also with other infrastructure, other buildings, other things that we use, public buildings, that are in very, very bad shape. We're repairing them. You can look around this riding Scarborough Southwest, and there's attachments to schools being built. I saw one the other day at St. Teresa School. We're putting all sorts of energy into repairing our hydro lines. You can see it all over the place. And we're doing so much to make our electricity system modern and up to date. And part of the infrastructure includes green energy. We brought in the Green Energy Act, which allows us to bring in windmills, alternative energy sources like solar panels. And some of the other parties that are more ideologically driven say, no, you can't do this. You can't change the old system. They want to keep the coal plants open that fire coal every day and then create all sorts of pollution in the air. We're trying to move to clean energy. It's going to go against that. They don't want the wind turbines. They don't want the solar panels. They don't want the alternative energy. But that's the way of the future. We have to compete, not just with other provinces, but with the whole world. And Ontario is the second largest manufacturing center in North America. Only California manufactures more than Ontario. We're the second largest place for manufacturing. And we want to be the first in producing green energy or alternative energy for all of Ontario. So there's lots of work to do. We've started that path. We're not picking on teachers. We're not picking on the nurses. We're not picking on people. We are empowering those people to do the very best they can. And our Premier, Dalton McGuinty, is leading the way. He knows that we cannot continue to live on coal-fired plants, that we cannot continue to use an old, antiquated electricity system that's been here for so long and that nobody else decided to fix. We're fixing it. Some people are saying, why are you doing this now? Because now is the time to do it. Not yesterday or last year. Now, and not 10 years from now or 20 years from now, we have to build a new system. So our children, our grandchildren, generations after can say, you know what, that Liberal Party, that Liberal government, back in years gone by, did a lot to make sure the future was looked after. And I admire the Premier for doing that, for rolling up his sleeves, like I have tonight, and making sure that those things are looked after. Because if we don't do it, who will? We do work with the private sector, but they're not going to come in and do it all by themselves. We have to work with them. When Chrysler was in trouble and GM was in trouble, we were there to help them out and make sure that they did not fall. Because they manufactured here in Ontario, and now they've started to pay back the loans that we gave them. And Ontario residents can be proud and happy to know that when they were down and out, we had the worst recession started in 2008, the worst one since the 1930s. And we had to get through that system. And we can decide, you know what, let's fold up, put our tents down, and let's just put our arms up and surrender. You know, the Premier and all of us in the Liberal caucus, the Liberal government, decided, you know what, now's the time to take action. Now's the time to start infrastructure programs, to get people working. You can see all over this riding, all over Toronto, new buildings coming, people working on these construction sites. Sometimes they're on roads as well, which upsets the drivers, including myself, but it's necessary to do these things. And this is a vision that I believe in. And the other parties, the Conservatives and the NDP, hold on to ideologies. Conservatives want to make sure, keep government off the backs of people. Sometimes government has to put their hand out and help people out, and companies out, so that Chrysler and GM don't shut their operations here in Ontario. And that's important to do. And we are pragmatists by nature. We make sure that we do what has to be done. Even the NDP is saying, you know what? We have to continue the old way. We can't change. They criticize us every day in the legislature, saying, why are you building so many windmills? Why are you building so many solar panels? What's the alternative? Continue burning coal and creating pollution that ends up in our children's lungs, and they end up having asthma or getting other illnesses from that coal. We have to move away from that. It's a revolution. It's a quiet revolution, led by our leader and led by all the Liberal caucus and government members. So I'm proud. I'm proud to be part of that. I'm glad to be part of that. I couldn't be a Conservative. I couldn't be a member of the NDP party. They are ideologically driven. The Conservatives don't want to spend money, and the NDP want to keep spending money on other things that aren't that important. Education and healthcare are the key to any society. We look back at history. The educated countries, the ones that had the healthiest people, prospered the most in any time period. I challenge anyone to come forward and say to me, that's not true. Because it is true. We know that educated people, people that have a good healthcare system, have a good society, a prosperous one that brings businessmen and businesswomen and all sorts of other individuals into this province. Where they say, you know what, this is a good location to set up. They can go to other places. They go to Georgia, they can go to California, they can go to Europe, they can go to Belgium. Belgium, Holland, but they're coming here to Ontario. We've opened our doors. People say, why did you do that HST? Well, the HST was done, it brought together the GST and the PST, and it's done to attract businesses, and it's working. Economists have said that in the next few years, that tax alone will generate 600,000 new jobs. People say, where are those jobs going to come from? They're going to come from the green energy sector. They're going to come from the education sector. They're going to come from the healthcare sector. They're going to want to join hands with the government and do things together and work as partners to improve this province, to improve the welfare of everyone that lives here. I'm proud to be a member and a candidate and bring that message door to door over the next several months. Maybe I'll lose some weight if I do it, which is a good thing. So the canvassing starts tomorrow, and the message goes out tomorrow. And it's an important message we have to go to and carry day by day, right until October 6th, which is election day. And on that day, the verdict will be given whether or not our vision is a vision that people in Ontario and people in Scarborough Southwest believe, whether it's one that they reject, perhaps want to vote for the Conservative or NDP vision. But I'm confident that at the end of the day, if we get our message out, and I got someone named Costas Manuel, so make sure I get the message out, right, Costas? He'll be there helping out every day, as well as all the other supporters that are on my side, on the side of the Liberal Party, on the side of our vision. That'll make sure the vision and the message gets out. We want a good future. We want a healthy future. We want a well-educated future. That only happens if you're pragmatic, if you're able to look and say, you know what, 10, 20 years from now, we did the right thing. And 10 or 20 years from now, we'll look back and say, that was a courageous move that was made. So I'm proud to carry that message forward. And I'm proud of all people that are here today that took time to come out and to listen to the nomination and listen to me speak as well. I could go on much longer. I think I've used up my 10 minutes. And I thank you once again for allowing me to come forward and speak and to say what I believe is true. And hopefully that vision, as I said, will resonate with people now, and especially on election day, October 6th, 2011.